So moving on to MySpace, may it rest in peace. MySpace was launched in 2003, so only shortly before Facebook was founded. Very similar. It allowed a lot more customization of your page, like you could have the music playing when people got to your page, and that was supposed to be your song. Lots of glittery animation. Things just got really out of control with MySpace very quickly, and that's where, by all accounts, they lost their fan base. MySpace in 2006 was the most popular. Obviously, that's been taken over by Facebook in terms of social media. MySpace was redesigned in 2008 and in 2009 to make it more Facebook-like, but unfortunately, they'd already seen the migration away from their site. It's turned in mostly to a site to host GarageBand music and finding new music, and they own that. They talk about it being more of a music concert venue at this point. So blogs. Blogs really, a lot of people think about blogs as just sharing content with people, but it can also be a really easy way to engage with students. If your office has a blog, you can use it not only to blog as a staff member or an administrator about what's going on in your office, but student blogs are hugely popular with other students. So our website, for example, we have 2 students blog about what it's like to live on campus. Those students are unpaid. They just share their own experiences. We don't edit them. We do ask that they not discuss any policy violations that they may be involved in. We want to protect their reputation. So we kind of give them some guidelines at the beginning of, for your own best interest, here are things you should do. And they blog from move-in day through the end of the year. They talk about everything, getting to know their RAs, being homesick, challenges in classes. Our prospective students see that. That is largely the demographic hitting those blogs, and they see this is an experience that I want, because housing is completely optional for us as well. So we really have to sell our housing program. There are a couple of sites where you can host a blog for free. WordPress is one of them, Blogspot is another. If you just want to dabble with a blog, that's an easy way to do it and get it set up. Link it back to your departmental website or your Facebook. Something with blogs is that you have to continuously update them. If you aren't updating them and keeping them current, they really lose interest quickly. People want to see that there's a reason to come back. They want to see new information, new pictures, things that are going on. Yep.
Sorry, this one's such a mess. I can't get a good logo for it.
About the blog, how often do you think that you should be updating them?
We ask our students to update their blogs at least once a week. And obviously make exceptions over break periods. And if they can't commit to that, we can talk about it and find out, like, you're a really good writer, we really want you to do this. Where can we meet in the middle on this?
Something else you can do with blogs is put them up in your classroom. Right now, my students in my class that I teach adjunct are blogging about the technologies that they use in the class. So it'll be a resource when they leave.
That's great. At Bridgewater State University in Massachusetts, Maine, I don't know where they are. They, somewhere up there.
They're in Massachusetts.
I was close. They actually, whenever their students go to a student leader conference, they're required to blog about that conference. So they share their reflections. So the rest of campus can see, our money helped pay for these students to go to this conference. Here's what they did. Here's what they did with those 5 days. So it's also a way to hold students accountable. This was an icon for GoToMeetings. GoToMeetings is a web-based software that you can use to host a webinar, host a meeting. It's an easy way to connect with people who may not be in the same area. We use them a lot in our professional organizations, but we've also started using them more with students as well, students who can't be at a meeting. If you have a student studying abroad, GoToMeetings is a great way to get them back into that student organization meeting because it doesn't cost anything. That's not true. There's a software fee associated with it, but once you pay for it, it's good for a year.
What did you say the name of it was again?
GoToMeetings.
It's all crammed together, G-O-T-O meeting. And for the academic advisors in the back, this might be an interesting tool to use if you are trying to do advising, or even if it's pre-advising before folks are arriving for an orientation session, to connect with them, even if it's just to give them basics about what to expect. I know that there are some academic advisory groups out there that are starting to use that, and Skype, which we'll get into in a little bit.
What about DimDim? Do you know about that one?
Is that the free one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there is a free version, not of GoToMeeting, but it's similar. It was called DimDim. Is that what you said?
DimDim is one, and then Adobe Connect Pro also has a free version of it.
Yeah, check those out. I appreciate you bringing those up. Oftentimes, if a free version is working well, it's only a matter of time before it starts to charge you money. So use the free version while you can, and maybe that will also help you figure out if it's something that you want to use. And then you can go and check the features out of something like a GoToMeeting, which may actually do more of what you need for the long term. So that's a really good way to test some stuff out.
one of the cool features of GoToMeeting, and some of the others may do this as well, you can record the webinar
Yeah.
and then post it somewhere later. So for academic advising, if you want to do a general session that you want people to watch before they come into their individual
Yeah.
meetings, you can do that, save it, and then send them access to the file so that they come in knowing, okay, these are the basics, here's what I've done to prepare for my advising session. Or if you do like a student organization training, like a budget training, president's training, you can also do that in web form so that it's always accessible if they can't make it to an actual session. Okay, turning over to Terry.
You'll notice that we've got a little bit of activity going on the back channel here, even from some folks in the room. Thank you, Amy and Matt. If you do want to contribute, just send a tweet out and hit that little pound sign, and USI Go Social, and yours will come up in the queue. I sent a question out there earlier to the Student Affairs Chat community about what types of social media are they using to engage students. And so you're seeing some of the responses coming in. Liz Gross is saying that you can't beat Facebook, but also using YouTube can be helpful to help you stand out. And Tina Horvath has listed several that she's actively using with her team in residence life on her campus. So more will start to pop through. Oh, someone's trying to call me. That's lovely. I'm not going to listen. So we're going to go ahead and jump in here. Does everybody know what this one is?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yes. It is LinkedIn is a business-oriented social networking site. How many folks here have a LinkedIn account right now? Okay, so do I, so does Stacy. So if you want to connect with us, we'd love to have you do that. But it was founded in December 2002, and it was launched in May of 2003, mainly used for professional networking. And there are actually, LinkedIn has a video on their main site that can walk you through the power of LinkedIn. And we have lots of colleges of business or schools of business that are really tuned in and dialed into LinkedIn. It tends to find itself in more of those professional networking sites, but higher education is jumping on board. It's a site that will allow you to put your information up there about your background, your professional history. You can reach out to people that you've worked with and ask them to write you a recommendation. So that you can, if David was wanting to hire me and he's going and looking at my information on LinkedIn, he can also see some testimonials from people that I've worked with about their working experience with me. Yes?
Just a bit of advice. Ask them to do it frequently, not 5 minutes before you're looking for a job.
Absolutely. Good rule with any reference, I would agree. As of November 2nd, 2010, LinkedIn had more than 80 million registered users. So this isn't just some tiny little professional networking site. What they're attempting to do with LinkedIn is not just be a place where you can go post some things, but also where if I'm on LinkedIn and Stephanie's on LinkedIn and Matt is on LinkedIn and Matt is a chair of a company that I know I need to connect with, but I don't know him, Stephanie can introduce me to Matt and we can develop a connection. So that's really the power of LinkedIn, and you can start to see, if you think about how you can apply that in higher education, how that might work well. If you work with student organizations, I can see it as a pretty interesting recruitment tool if you really wanted to manipulate it that way. If you were looking at things like recruitment for student positions, that might be interesting for you to go and look at, because typically people like to leave their LinkedIn profiles at least somewhat more open than potentially their Facebook profiles would be. So. Quadcast reports that LinkedIn gets 21.4 million monthly unique U.S. visitors and 47.6 million globally. So businesses, corporations, industries are using LinkedIn to find out information and to connect with potential employees. Okay. Oh, am I doing this?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
You got a question.
That's fine. Okay, does anybody know what this one is?
Flickr.
Flickr. Good job. Good candy. Give me some candy. Flickr. Does anybody know what Flickr is, now that you know what the word is?
It's a site you put pictures up that's searchable, so average Joe can put up his pictures and average Jane can go find pictures from average Joe's site.
Right. It's classified as an image hosting, video hosting website, web services suite, and online community. It's actually owned by Yahoo now. It was started by an independent company, and then Yahoo said, hey, this is a pretty cool idea, we're going to go ahead and take that. Can you think about some uses for Flickr in what you do now? Just make it go away, please. Thank you. How many of you have events? Okay. How many of you advertise those events? How many of you take pictures of those events? Wouldn't it be neat if you had your own section here that if a student popped in, or some potential student, or potential employer, or if your career services, you know, somebody who might be interested in coming to your job fair, and they searched for your institution, that pictures of your events would pop up? How many of you have scores and scores of pictures from past events? I'm just looking at Stephanie, because I know they take millions, and I know you guys do too. So if you have all those pictures, you could store them here on Flickr, which then would allow other folks to find them, but then you'd always know where they are. That's a lot of the use that you see with Flickr. You got artists that are actually putting pictures of their work up there so that when somebody goes out to look for a piece of art and they search on it, they can find all these samples of artwork and then maybe able to go and buy them.
So does it just make it more accessible, like for, under Google Images, is that kind of?
It can show up under Google Images. So if you have copyright issues,
Right.
you'll want to check with your university on that. But mostly, like I use ours for all of our Res Life functions. I have every event tagged, sorted, so students can go in and see that. A lot of our students will then take it and add it to their Facebook profile and say, oh yeah, here's a picture of me from this event.
So think about if you had a giant, you know, like extended orientation program right at the beginning of the year, right, which I know that you do. And your students were seeing this photographer running around going, oh my gosh, are you taking our pictures? And then, you know, they do all the goofy poses that students do. And then you put it on the Flickr site, they could go find themselves and then use it, which would be great. But then you also have the image as well.
You may have just answered the question, but does Flickr have a direct connection to Facebook in terms of if they want to just upload their photo? Is there an easy way to just do that, or do they have to actually copy it, save it?
There is an app that
There's
they
an
can
app.
add. I haven't had much success with the app. I always get confused about the apps and the privacy sharing, just because
Yeah.
I don't like to release all of my information to other places. But if students are comfortable using that Flickr app, they could absolutely just grab the pictures that way.
There's an awful lot of interesting functionality when you start throwing applications in on top of all of this. You know, we're talking base level here. When you add apps in, you can start making these things work with each other in ways that the original designers never really even intended to.